Assalamu alaikum. I'm Zaki Bika and you with us in the lab, empowering, inspiring and informing our viewers. Keep the feedback coming. We're enjoying all the comments. Infant death is one of the most devastating experiences any parent could face. Although nothing can take away the pain or fill the baby's place in your heart, it can help to acknowledge your grief and share feelings with others who have had similar loss. It's crucial to find social support for your grief. Acknowledging your baby's death, as well as your lost hopes and dreams for the baby's future, is an important part of the grieving process. It can be comforting and therapeutic to connect with other parents who have experienced infant death. With us in studio today is Khatija Essa, mom of 3, passionate school kids transporter, and self-employed. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Alaikum salam. Jazakallah for having me on your show.
It's always a pleasure. So Khatija, tell us the events that happened on that day in 2012.
Basically, it was a day. It is a day that changed my life within seconds. I had got up. It was a typical Sunday morning. I was living with my dad at the time, so I had my sister-in-laws with me in the same home. And I got up. I fed Reza and I put her down. I just washed her out because my husband and I were planning a day out. It was my recovery had just ended because I just had a Caesar, so it was basically just ending my 6 weeks and things.
Okay.
So we were planning a day out, and that particular day I just washed her out, I fed her and I put her down to sleep, and I went on into the kitchen to go and help my sister-in-law with the daily cooking and breakfast and that type of thing. Zakia, the most important point here is while I was busy in the kitchen, something told me go and check on Reza. But then I don't know what happened. I sort of stopped in my steps and turned around and carried on with my work. I cannot explain that to you. Up till today, I don't even have, I can't explain it to you.
Obviously,
And
because
I just turned around and I carried on my work. I didn't go further than that. My husband came in and he said, okay, he's going to go and shower and we will leave after that. And as he walked into the room, he screamed. He called out for me, and that call was like a call. I was like, what happened? You know? I ran into the room to go and see and like asked him what's wrong, and he's come here. And I went and all I saw is my baby in his arms. She was full of blood coming out through her mouth, through her nose, and she was unconscious. I don't know what happened in that time. I just know I was running around crazy. My brother tried to get the doctor. My sister-in-law's mother was there. Luckily, she was a motherly figure. She took Reza and she tried to resuscitate her, managed to get her breathing, yet still unconscious. In that time, we rushed her to the hospital.
okay.
Got her to the hospital, got her into emergency. Doctors were working on her, and there's a legal period that you need to work on them for like 30 minutes.
All
That they
right.
need to try and get them to
Okay, so
to
that
breathe.
that's a very important point. So,
Yeah.
is that the time they took to work on all?
They did. In fact, in between the time, I told them, please stop, because I'm only seeing the straight line. And I'm like, please stop. I cannot see my child being poked at, dotted at. Like a small little body, and, you know, I couldn't handle it. And the doctor, the nurse came to me and told me, please be calm. We have to do it legally. We have to work on them for 30 minutes. Anyway, that 30 minutes is like the longest time because Reza's not coming around. And eventually 30 minutes were over. The doctor didn't want to give up. I actually thank him for not giving up. I'll get to that point. He said, give me another 5 minutes. And the 5 minutes went on, still nothing. On the 7th minute, alhamdulillah, he managed to get her to breathe. Still unconscious, but he got her stable, yet very critical. Anyway, then she had to spend the night in pediatric ICU. Alhamdulillah, for that time that he gave me, it was, I think Allah answered my du'as, because while she was there, say, Allah, what did I do? Did I do something wrong? Where did I go wrong? Should I have went back to her? You know? And I think Allah answered my dua by bringing her back for that short time, because they did the test only to find out that Reza was a bleeder.
All right.
And also she had a blood clot which could have been on her lung from birth, which was obviously not seen to the naked eye.
Undetected, yes.
And in her sleep, sort of came up and she choked. So
Okay, so was that the cause of the...
that was the cause of her death. And being a bleeder, she had internal injuries. So what happened was her organs began to drown in her own blood. So as the time went on, the 24 hours passed, the doctor called me in the next morning to tell me, look, you know what I'm going to tell you. Her liver is now not functioning properly, and when that happens, there's like really no hope. So you need to make a decision. And I just froze and I was like, stop right there. I don't think any mother can make a decision to say, let's switch off and let's end this.
And at that time, how old was Reisa?
Reisa was just turning up to 6 weeks.
Okay, I'm finding this really, really difficult, but please continue.
So in any case, Alhamdulillah, my brother was there. I think nobody went to work that day. Everybody came early to the hospital with me. My brother was, and my sister-in-law was outside. My husband accompanied me, and I told them, I said, I cannot make this decision. So can you please call them in? And they came in, and I said, look, this is the thing. You guys make the decision. I'm not making this. Although I knew what the decision was going to be.
Yes.
But I said, you say it. And that was it. And it was the longest 5 hours of my life because they switched off air from 9 o'clock and they can't do it immediately. It's a process. So they switch off gradually. And it was at 9 o'clock, and at 2 o'clock was the final switch.
Okay. So you spoke about your support system. Your family was your support system. Sometimes I feel that when you are in such a deep state of trauma and that, people can do very hurtful things. Is this possible? Or
Absolutely. It was. I think I saw within us a very sick community, very sick-minded thinking. I used to hear it. I never thought I'd experience it.
Okay, so we all hear it, and so tell us your experience, because
Zakira, what actually led up to this experience? My auntie came to me one day, and she told, in the time, it was the day after, and she told me, she says, I'm very, very disturbed. So it's like, what happened? She says, my neighbor comes up to me and tells me that Riyadh, he just turned 2 years old.
Okay.
Riyadh was very jealous of Reisa, so he took a plastic bag and he put it over her head and he suffocated her. I was taken aback. I didn't know how to react to this. I really didn't know how to react to this. And I left it. And then a while later, somebody came on to me and said, apparently, you see, in my dad's house, a lot of children.
All right.
And they were, because they all lived together. So the story was, the kids were all playing with her and they threw her out of the window. And she had a head injury, and this resulted in her death.
Okay.
The third one, which I'm so glad that I'm here today for, is I met a long lost friend at the chemist a few weeks later after Reisa had passed on.
Okay.
And this guy never really had contact with me, and I never even knew that he recognized me. But anyway, he came up to me and salam, and he spoke to me, he gave me consolation with Reisa, and I'm so sorry to hear. And then he tells me, but you're looking really good. So I'm like, yes. So you passed your depression. So I was like, what depression? Because I believe that you and your husband went through a separation and you were in depression, so you had suffocated your baby with a blanket. I'm like, what? And that's when I told him, and this is why I'm here today. I believe that Allah made this happen, because I went home and I was furious, and I told my father and my husband, I said, you know what, I'm going to the Lodium Sun. I'm going to put my story out in the Lodium Sun. And my father told me, no, relax. He said, relax. Allah, the truth always comes out. Whether it's a day or 10 days or a year or 20 years, the truth is going to come out. And that is why I'm here today.
Yes.
And I'm here to tell, especially the Lodium community or the Indian community at large, that I did not take my child's life.
No, obviously.
I don't think any mother would do that.
No, absolutely. No. And that is ultimately in the hands of Allah.
Exactly.
But in saying that, people make your times of trauma 10 times worse and more difficult than you're going through.
Insinuating, don't assume. Don't go here. Say, you know what, it's more like, I know Khadija, and I heard this from Khadija's cousin. So you need to be now, center of attraction.
Obviously, you have overcome this to be sitting here today and speaking about it, and you're one strong woman, because I'm finding this interview really difficult. How do you want to advise people? How do they go about? I mean, what is your advice to the people out there? that when something this traumatic happens, what do they do, and how do they evade rumors, and how do they just
I think basically it's just a matter of being a support system, a genuine support system. If you
Yes.
can't give the genuine support, stay away.
stay away?
Make dua and just stay away.
Yes.
If you hear stories, keep it to yourself. I mean, it's like with any case, I think it's with anything, whether it's a divorce or whether it's a death in the family, a death
Yes.
of a mother or death of a father, whatever it is, people are quick to make up stories. Just stay away from the story.
Okay, so how did you and your husband and your other kids deal with the stories? Did it break you? Did it
No,
make you stronger?
It actually made us very much stronger. Alhamdulillah, I think it was a time where we learned to realize that people out there can be evil, and we will not take on what people say about us. And we faced the world, and alhamdulillah, we came out strong. And I coached, my little one was small, but my bigger son, I coached him to say, don't worry about what the people are saying. We know the truth. And my father kept telling me the truth will prevail.
Yes,
And the truth will come out.
absolutely. Words of a wise man.
Yes.
Everyone mourns differently. Was it a silent and sad topic in your home, or did you talk about it? Were you allowed to talk about it with your family, and between you and your husband? Did you just keep it in, or how did you?
No, definitely not a silent story in my home.
Okay.
Teresa's memory has been alive. She would be now 7 years old.
Alhamdulillah.
Memory is kept alive in my home. We all, including my siblings, their spouses, my cousins, everybody talks about her.
Okay.
Her memory is kept alive. What would she have been like today?
Yes.
What would she be doing right now? So, and also my sister had given birth 2 weeks after I had, and my sister-in-law 2 weeks before I had. So there's two little ones that
are similar
Yes.
age.
So no, Resa's memory, and it's not kept alive with mourning, it's kept alive with joy, because she really did bring a lot of joy in our life.
I mean, for that short period of
Alhamdulillah.
time. So a child is actually a gift. A gift that Allah sends to you, irrespective of what time limit it is.
Definitely.
But she was sent to you to teach you a lesson, and obviously you have learned lots of lessons from that, including the how community reacts and how the community can make or break you. What are your final words, Khatija, to women that are going through the same thing and looking for a support system?
Basically, I would say talk about it.
Okay.
Continue to talk about it. Don't feel shy to cry about it. Find someone that would be there to want to listen to you, to want to listen. I think more so someone that actually has been through it with you, because it's really the person that's been through it that would only fully understand what you're going through. Don't be afraid to mourn after 7-8 years. There's nothing wrong in doing that. A mother never really
Gets over
it. I lost my mother, didn't get over it, but I managed to cope. But with losing a child, it's a life-changing. It changes your personality. It changes sort of a lot of things about you. So basically talk about it. Find that support system. I'm here. If anybody out there that feels that they need to talk, if they can relate to what I'm saying, they're most welcome to get my contact details from you and contact me. And I'm more than welcome, more than willing to help them and to get over it, inshallah. And also, most important point is that if a person has to go go and sympathize, or if you're going,
Yes.
Please.
That is a very
Yes.
okay. So I need you to tell that to the audience. That is something very pertinent and very important that people need to know. What do you say? The do's and don'ts of speech when
Yes,
when you're visiting a mourning mother.
basically when you're sitting down next to a mourning mother, your words should never be, "It's okay, you can get another baby." That's what I found most disturbing. I found most heartbreaking, because it's not like you're going to a pet shop and you bought a cat, your cat ran away, and you're telling someone, go to the pet shop and go and buy another cat.
Absolutely.
It's not the same thing. This is something that you carried in you for 9 months. Each child, and I'm sure Zakira, you can relate, when you
absolutely.
find that when you find that the news of you having a baby, you're already planning your baby's future.
Absolutely.
So with
Absolutely.
Reisa, because I have a special needs child as well, Aisha, I had my 2 boys, and Aisha, I never really had an experience of having a girl. So when I conceived Reisa and I heard she was a girl, I was ecstatic. It was like, she's going to be driving around with me, she's going to be cooking with me, she's going to be
Yes.
baking with me,
Yes.
we're going to dress up together. Because obviously Aisha doesn't have that in her because
Yes.
of a disability.
Yes.
So never go to a person and say, you can have another one. Because yes, you can have another one, but that one is
That
not going to
is-
replace
it's
the child.
irreplaceable.
And another thing, like a lot of people told me, she's just 6 weeks old. No, I think she can be 6 minutes, 6 hours, 6 weeks,
Yes.
6 years, or 60 years. A
Yes.
child is a child.
Is your child.
So don't say those things. You go there, you give the child, the mother comfort. Let her know that you're there for her. May Allah give you strength to go through this and compensate you with something better.
Ameen.
You know? But don't, please, those words, they should refrain. I found that was the ugliest and the most heartbreaking words to hear.
Jazakallah so much, Khatija, for being with us. And may Allah give you strength and to continue. And may Allah grant Raisa the highest stage of Jannah. And please, if there is anybody that wants support, Khatija is available, so you can get her details from us. And inshallah, for those that are going through similar situations, may Allah give you the strength to continue. Jazakallah so much.
Barakallah. Jazakallah so much for having me on your show. And just really, I think it helps talking about it after so many years.
Absolutely.
And
Thank you so
Jazakallah
much. Well then, it's a wrap. I end today's episode with something from Drops of Clarity. When a woman loses her husband, she becomes a widow. When a man loses his wife, he becomes a widower. When children lose their parents, they become orphans. But when a parent loses a child, that loss is so gruesome and solemn that there is no word in the Oxford Dictionary to explain that feeling. Jazakallah for tuning in. Catch us next week on Lodium Today for another great episode. Assalamu alaikum. Watch our episodes on YouTube and subscribe to our profile. Also stay in touch on Facebook, WhatsApp and Instagram, and we'll keep you up to speed with topics coming up next week. Don't miss an episode.